Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. Zydus Cadila gets an emergency use authorization in India. What's important is that it's the first vaccine for children above 12 to be approved in India. So the first vaccine for children above 12 now approved in India. This is a 3-dose vaccine. It's made in India. Zydus Cadila, the first vaccine for children above 12, now approved in India. Talibanistan is now Terroristan. This is India's major worry. As meanwhile, terror group Al-Qaeda also issued a statement backing the Taliban today. Pakistan terror groups getting Taliban backing. India now majorly concerned about this new nexus. Sonia Gandhi's major opposition meets. She says the ultimate goal is the 2024 elections. We have compulsions but must put the interests of the nation first. There is no alternative to working cohesively together. Mamta, Pawar, Thackeray, Stalin and Soren attend. Mamta says that we should put personal interests aside, forget about who's the leader, but Kejriwal, Mayawati, Akhilesh and Jagan stay away. I can't read. The reality of the digital divide in Jharkhand with schools shut and no smartphone access. Even children in class 5 say they've forgotten how to read. The Mumbai-Nagpur Expressway, just an 8-hour journey now. When the expressway is finally complete, it's all set to open this December. NDTV gets a preview. And now a horse painted with BJP colours. Animal rights activists protest as this horse is brought to a BJP yatra. Well, the breaking news coming in just now. India has given emergency use authorization to a vaccine which can be used for children above 12. Sarah has the latest details. Well, Sarah, this in a sense is the first vaccine that can be used on children in India.
Absolutely, Sonia, and it could be a game changer because as you saw that story you're going to have from Jharkhand, it's been 2 critical years for a whole generation of students who have been out of school, and now we have this big news coming in that India's drug regulator has basically approved Zydus Cadila's. The information is just coming in, so I'm going to bring us up to date. It's a 3-dose COVID-19 DNA vaccine. It's for emergency use for adults, but also for children from the age of 12 and above. So this will be the 6th vaccine that has been authorized for use in the country. And of course, the big focus here is that it's the first vaccine, though the 6th vaccine authorized for use, the first vaccine that is going to be allowed or cleared for use on children. The company says it plans to manufacture 100 million or to 120 million doses of this annually. They're going to stockpile this vaccine. Of course, this could lead, this is way down the line, but it could lead to debates about whether it should be prioritized for children specifically, given the fact that we do have a shortage of vaccines in the country. And this is the only vaccine out of 6 that can be used or has been cleared for use for children. They had applied for authorization on the 1st of July. Sonia, it has an efficacy rate of 66.6%, and this is the first plasmid DNA vaccine against the coronavirus. So, of course, a moment of celebration, especially for parents, and not just parents, anyone concerned about, the kids getting back into schools. One of the big factors holding people back was that there's no vaccine for children, and perhaps now with this big news update, we can see some change in that story.
Right, and Sarah, and of course, we're still waiting for more details. Remember, the Prime Minister had also visited the Zydus Cadila plant. So this vaccine has been something that's been worked on for a while, but of course, people will want to see the trial results. But the fact that the drug regulator has given emergency use authorization for a vaccine that can be used on children is good news. We'll get you more details as we have them. This emergency use authorization just coming in a short while ago. Meanwhile, the other lead story tonight, the big worry is that is it now Afghanistan becoming Talibanistan and now Terroristan? That's India's major worry, because today, adding to this, terror group Al-Qaeda openly backed the Taliban in a statement. More terror groups are also issuing statements backing the Taliban. And as the Foreign Affairs Minister said yesterday at the UN, the big worry is that Pakistan-based terror groups are now in contact with the Taliban and getting official support.
As India is making sense of Taliban regime, at least 3 bits of puzzle is now very clear. The first biggest concern of Indian government is Afghanistan might yet again become a terror headquarter. Second is Taliban conducted searches in at least 2 of India's missions. And third is they also requested India not to evacuate their Kabul embassy. But the biggest concern for the Indian government is how to evacuate those 1,000 people who are still there in various Afghanistan cities.
Well, the other breaking news tonight is a major opposition party meeting virtually headed by Congress President Sonia Gandhi. Arvind has more details because, Arvind, it's interesting. Sonia Gandhi taking the lead in saying that set aside all personal compulsions, this is about national interest. What exactly happened?
Yeah, Sonia, in a meeting of which was attended by almost 19 major opposition parties across the country, the Congress chief Sonia Gandhi has given a clarion call for the opposition parties to come together to take on BJP in the 2024 general elections, underlining the unity that was displayed by all these opposition parties in the recently concluded parliament session. Mrs. Gandhi, who is Congress chief, she has also asked for the same outside the house also. In her opening remarks, she has also said that all these opposition parties should systematically plan and work together with a single-minded objective of giving a government to the country that works on the principles, values of freedom movement, and also the values of the principles of our constitution. Not just her, even Mamata Banerjee, who is the chief minister of West Bengal, the TMC chief, she also seconded the need for an opposition unity. She said that all the opposition parties should keep their issues aside, in fact, including the issue like who will be the leader of the opposition parties, etc., aside, and come together to fight against BJP. She also said that not just these 19 opposition parties, in fact, several other opposition parties should also be brought into this coalition to fight against BJP. The very senior opposition leader and also seasoned politician Sharad Pawar also seconded this need for an opposition unity here. He also said that all those who want to save the secularism and also the democratic ethos of our country should work together to ensure that we present a good future for our countrymen. So all these opposition parties, 19 opposition parties, have jointly issued a statement saying that they'll be protesting against the BJP government for all the anti-people measures from September 20th to September 30th. They've also issued a joint statement saying that the countrymen should rise to the occasion and stand up to protect the democratic and also the secularism and republican order of the country.
Right, but of course, the putting together the coalition of those parties is going to be the mammoth task. But 2 leaders, they're calling for putting your own compulsions aside and actually putting national interest first, according to the opposition. Let's see how that unfolds. Meanwhile, let's go across to the other big story, and that really is about the Delta variant surge throughout the United States. And this is happening with the US now the world's global corona epicenter, despite the fact that the US has over half its population fully vaccinated, though the worst impact is in states where vaccinations are low. Israel also seeing a resurgence, over 62% fully vaccinated. The UK is still high as well at over 60%. India at over 9%, but positivity rate much lower than in these other countries. So just if we look at the COVID latest trends, can India vaccinate all adults by year end? As our cases are down and vaccination paces is actually picking up, but the asking rate, as we can see here, is also rising. We managed to vaccinate over 5 lakh a day for 6th consecutive day. We had 2.41 lakh cases in the last 1 week, and that's the lowest since mid-March. So that's really good news. That's a great window. Weekly deaths also the lowest since early April. As our cases are down, our vaccinations going up. So the latest on COVID, it's over 36,571 cases, pretty much the same as yesterday. Also the deaths, 540. Again, pretty much the same. The tests also pretty much the same, with the daily positivity rate at no change. These are good numbers so far for India. And as we just reported in breaking news, well, the first vaccine for children has been approved in India, a made in India vaccine, Zydus Cadila, which can be used in children above 12. And that couldn't come any sooner because, as we are seeing in many parts of India with schools completely shut, the biggest digital divide is happening in the poorer states like Jharkhand.
Shut schools in Jharkhand, one of India's poorest states, and fading hope for children, especially those who attend primary and middle classes. With the COVID pandemic forcing them out of school for close to 2 years, and e-learning next to impossible for most. This recent door-to-door survey by economists Jean Drez and Ritika Kheda in 4 Jharkhand villages found that 75% of 150 surveyed children could not read a single word. This seems to be a worse outcome from pre-pandemic levels. When a 2018 education report by the NGO Pratham had found that only 30% of class 5 government school students in Jharkhand could read a standard 2 level text. 110 kilometers west of Jharkhand's capital Ranchi, in the Kutmu village of the Naxal-affected Latehar district, among India's most backward areas, 12-year-old government school student Sudhir Kumar, the son of a marginal farmer and a housewife, who was promoted from class 5 to 6 recently, seems to have all but lapsed into illiteracy, unable to even read basic words from his class 5 textbooks. There is no smartphone at home for e-learning.
पहले थी सुबह सुबह उठता था, नहा के स्कूल जाते थे, तो कोरोना नहीं, लॉकडाउन जब से लगा है तब से नहीं जा रहे हैं स्कूल। पढ़ाई लिखाई का कैसे होगा, कुछ नहीं होता है पढ़ाई लिखाई। हाँ, पढ़ लेते थे पहले।
अभी क्या दिक्कत हो रहा है?
भुला जा रहे हैं क्या, कोई नहीं है पढ़ाने वाला आसपास। स्कूल खोल के ऐसे ही छोड़ देता था मैडम, अब कहता थे कि खाना बनेगा खा के चल जाना। एगो गुरुजी अथी पोखरी के थे, वही बढ़िया पढ़ाई पढ़ाता था।
5 kilometers away in the Dumbi village, it is a similar story with Neeta Kumari, promoted recently from class 7 to class 8.
क्या पढ़ रही हो? अभी बच्चे लोग कुछ नहीं पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, सब
कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं। अभी
जो पढ़ाई किए हुए थे वो भूल गए।
भूलिए ना, 2 साल हो गए तो क्या है।
70% of Jharkhand's children attend government schools between classes 1 to 8, according to the Annual Status of Education or ASER 2020 report by the NGO Pratham. But shut schools, absent teachers and no hybrid education models like community or homeschooling amid the COVID pandemic has turned the clock back in a big way.
In Jharkhand, it seems that there are no provisions being made at all for any kind of study. So these offline children have basically been abandoned. The consequence of this is that there seems to be a tremendous loss of what these children have learnt earlier. Now, we are not saying that the normal classes can resume immediately, but we feel that the schools should really reopen. The teachers should at least be present because the teachers have completely vanished.
Once all schools reopen, filling the glaring gaps in the education of children for the past 2 years will be a tough task. With Sanjeev Giri and Harivansh Sharma in Latehar, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Moving to this special focus on one of the country's most ambitious construction projects, the Mumbai-Nagpur Expressway, where phase 1 should be complete by December. It's a mega project that is saying that it will cut travel time from Mumbai to Nagpur into half, into just 8 hours.
The Mumbai-Nagpur Super Communication Expressway, named after the Shiv Sena Supremo Balasaheb Thackeray, this new highway, which is a completely greenfield project, will connect the capital of Maharashtra, Mumbai, with the winter capital of Maharashtra, Nagpur. The current time taken to travel between Mumbai and Nagpur by road is about 16 hours. This highway, which is under construction and is likely to be thrown open to commuters by the end of the year, will cut that distance to 8 hours. One of the key features, an 8-kilometer tunnel through the Sahyadris. There are underpasses for wildlife and there is a focus on the carbon footprint.
11,31,000 जो है यहाँ पर ट्री प्लांटेशन होगा, पर्यावरण पर्यटन जो टूरिज्म है उसको भी ध्यान में रखा है.
The government says the project is a game changer and will be partially completed by December. It will cost no more than existing toll roads in the country.
ये बाला साहेब ठाकरे समृद्धि महामार्ग है. ये दिसंबर 2021 में शिरडी तक शुरू होगा, 2022 तक पूरा खुला हो जाएगा. ये लोगों के लिए काफ़ी फायदेमंद है. ये एक्सेस कंट्रोल रोड है.
When tolling will start on the expressway, it will be charged at the rate of ₹1.65 per kilometer for light vehicles, and for heavy vehicles like trucks and trailer, accordingly it will increase.
Nearly 75% work has been completed when it comes to the construction of this fully concrete 700-kilometer long expressway between Mumbai and Nagpur. Authorities say this is one of India's most ambitious infrastructure projects, and it will revolutionize development, with townships being planned all along its alignment. On the Samruddhi Mahamarg or the Mumbai-Nagpur Expressway, with camera person Praveen G. Rohit, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.